I promised you that I would explain what a multiple is, because sometimes you'll be asked for the factors or the multiples of a number. Okay, so a multiple is a number in a sequence. So for example, the multiples of 3, you would start with 3, and then you would go up in 3s. So you would do 3, 6, 9, 12, because what a multiple is, well, it's 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 6 is 18, 3 times 7 is 21, and so on, right? So those are the multiples of 3. Now, you might get a question that says, well, what are the common multiples of 3 and let's say 5? So now let's find the multiples of 5 so we can find which ones they have in common. So once again, if you're doing multiples, you always start with the number, because 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, and so on, and you can do this in your head. Just keep going. Okay, now they might say, well, what are the common multiples of 3 and 5? So I'm going to go down the line and see which ones they both have, and unless I'm wrong, the only one that I can see is 15 for each one. Now, if you continued, you might get some more, but for now, what I'm seeing is 15 is a common multiple of 3 and 5. So a multiple, just remember, is where you're multiplying in that number and going up. You're basically skip counting in that number. So it's kind of like a number pattern, right? So these are the multiples of 3. These are the multiples of 5. Now what's fun is if you are asked to do the multiples of 6, you're going to notice something cool. So multiples of 6, I start with 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30, and so on. You will notice that 3 and 6 have a lot of common multiples, right? Because these two numbers work very nicely together, don't they? So for example, you've got 6 and 6. You've got 12 and 12, you've got 18 and 18. So what you can conclude here is that there are lots of common multiples for 6 and 3. So it might be the same for 5 and 10, right? And so on. Okay, those are the cool multiples.